Hi everyone and welcome back to some Warframe. So today we are doing the talk about Duviri, and we are doing this post-commentary because I needed to write down a couple of thoughts that I had, and I just recorded one of the runs I did to get everything for Kullervo, and yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Now, I was quite lucky in this run because I did get Hildren, and you saw the build there for just a little tiny bit. If you guys want to, we can go over that build in detail in a future video. But I'm still working on another build for Hildren, so that's why I thought, you know what, that's fair and square just to show this build. So let's talk to Duviri, let's talk about things that are on my mind right now about this content, and let's jump into it. So we need to separate the circuit from the Duviri experience, because those two things are extremely different things for me, and the enjoyment differs heavily between them. So I'm just gonna say it, I don't like the Duviri experience. It is not my cup of tea from a gameplay standpoint, and I know you guys are like, what do you mean? You enjoy like souls and stuff and slower combat and everything, and yeah, that is true, but it's not what I want to do in Warframe to farm stuff. As I said, it's not my cup of tea. Now that doesn't mean that the content is bad or anything like that. We had rare bugs occurring, yes, but I mean, come on, that is expected and also not that big of a deal. Now, I had one major problem or one major glitch happening, which was really getting on my nerves, and we jump into that in a couple of seconds here. So the first thing that I did, and that I always advise to everybody who wants to farm stuff in Warframe, is split it up. Don't do it in one go. It has the potential to just break you and like really diminish the fun you can have with a game. So my usual routine is I get in, I do like 1 or 2 runs, I go out of the Duviri again, maybe do a little bit of circuit if I feel it, but not necessarily, right? There are also the sorties, there are the Archon hunts for the week that you can do, and I also did do the Caliban farm right along this one, so that gave me the possibility to just split the content up a little bit. And if you are someone who absolutely loves the Duviri experience, I mean, go ahead, farm it all in one go, why not? Like, you don't need me to tell you what to do, right? It's just, in my opinion, it's always good to split it up and farm different things. Not to lose focus on the farm you're doing, but to keep it a little bit fresh, right? Just so if you find out that you don't enjoy one particular style of content that much, so you're able to just go and say, do you know what? I'm gonna do this for a half an hour, or hey, it's night in Cetus, somebody messaged me, and he was like, hey, can we do some Eidolon hunts together? I need to get going. I hate to farm like the course and stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure, man. Let's jump into that. Do that for the roughly 1 hour time period that you have. And so, yeah, that is just something that I always like recommend. Split up your farms a little bit, just to avoid getting burned by a particular farm in general, right? So in the Duviri experience, obviously, you also go into the Undercraft and do a selection of missions, and I think we will just fast forward through the whole experience here so it doesn't get too long, right? Yeah, I mean, those are perfectly fine, especially if you are a newer player and you do these runs in public. This is a great moment or a great place to learn about the game modes, learn about what you have to do, stuff like that, right? So also one other big tip, don't do this solo. Like, I mean, I was just doing it solo mainly because of 2 reasons, right? Reason number 1, I can do this solo, especially if I get rolled Hildren or Mesa or something like that in the cave, where I have like heavy investment builds and stuff, right? which you don't need, by the way, if you run in a group, because the group can carry you through everything if needed. Maybe you are have a build that is specialized in a certain type of content, where you really will be able to help out your squad and carry them through it, right? So, yeah, do this in a group. Highly, highly advised. But yeah, I thought I had to mention it, that I did it all solo, or like most of it solo. I did like 3 or 4 public runs, but the thing about public runs is it can be very lopsided, I guess. You can get a squad who knows what they are doing, who is like, do you know what, I just want to farm this, that, bam, bing, boom, out, right? Or you can hit the squad where like everybody asks you for different resources and where to get them, and you're like, oh dude, I can't, my brain isn't isn't in the mood right now to deal with all that. Now, don't get me wrong, like I had like 2 runs with 2 different random squads where like everybody was asking about, hey, where do I get this resource? And I was just like, dude, just follow me into this general area, and about this size of the map is like where you can get what you are looking for. And they were very, very, very graceful. And as I said, I love to help new players, don't get me wrong. The thing is, once I've set my sight on a farm, and I'm like, I want to get this farm done now, I mostly do it by myself. And that is just so I don't interfere with other people and their experience, just because I am going to either rush through something really hardly and just barely let them do anything, because I don't think that is a very good feeling for other players. Or I'm farming resources on the side and I don't want to slow down the whole squad, because I now decided that I need to farm this specific resource, or 2 of them, or 3 of them, and just like, yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. So we're back on track. We are back in the Duviri experience, right? Sorry for cutting out a little bit there, but it wasn't necessary. So yeah. Let's go. Next up is like, I want to talk a little bit about the content in Duviri in general as well, right? So there's nothing that is like major difficult, like that's not why I don't enjoy it. It's more because like the activities you have to do, some of them are just getting on my nerves. And the fucking horse races is a good, like, it's easy. It's so easy to do them. They are mostly not that long as well, but like, the one thing that fucks me over with those races is the controls, man. I don't know what it is. I have a certain expectation of what should happen when I press certain buttons, right? And that's just not how this horse behaves. And sometimes you get these weird omega jumps, and sometimes you want to turn around and you go the opposite direction, and you're like, oh, but I did press button that goes left. Now I go right. What the fuck? So that's just like, it's such a minor thing, right? That most people would just say, oh, come on, get over it. That's not a big deal. And yeah, it's not a big deal. I know. Like, I know. But it rubs me so the wrong way that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, obviously, to get all the blueprints for Kullervo, you have to fight him, which is great fun, to be honest. I quite enjoy this fight. I highly recommend not sticking to the Sun and Moon for this if you want to do it. I just did it with Sun and Moon because I was like, if I'm gonna show gameplay of that, I probably should do it with the weapon everybody gets, because if someone new jumps into that fight and only has the Sun and Moon, they don't feel bad about the damage they are doing. So yeah, it is painful, and I think I will only show a little bit of the fight, to be honest. And also, it really also depends on the decrease you get, right? Like, I have corrosive procs on my amp, so what I should be doing is reload the Sirocco, get the perfect reload with the shot that makes more damage after reloading, and take his health down. like that would be much better with the decrease I've got in this specific run. Also, the parry mechanic, don't get me wrong, can be very satisfying. Yeah, so here I just activated transference. This is the clip that I posted on Wednesday where Kulero just was sent off, right? And yeah, if you are in a group, just make sure you can use transference, and do it one by one, and you get through this fight pretty quickly. Alrighty, continuing with the objectives. Persia darkened areas, that's like just, yeah, that's okay, that's an easy one. If you have a better melee weapon for your drifter, which you get in the drifter cave, by the way. I should probably show this off, but I totally forgot to record that. So you can get, you have to beat 5 Oro Worms. Yeah, it's 50. So you have to beat 5 Oro Worms in regular path, or regular Duviri, not the steel path version. And you will be able to pick up a new melee for your drifter. There's a couple of different ones that you can get, ranging from a... I think it's a two-handed Nikana that you can get as well, a pole arm that you can get, and you will also get the blueprint for the weapon itself, so you can craft it and use it with your Warframes together. So that is something you can do. Yeah! Now, as I said, the content in Duviri, it's not hard, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, because all in all, the farm for all the resources and the Kulero fights that I had to do to buy all the blueprints in the shop was roughly 5 to 6 hours, I would say. It really depends on how much Duviri you have done beforehand, how many resources you've picked up. I just barely picked up any resources in the past. I farmed for the Incarnon weapons, like some of them, like the Lex Prime, the Bursten. Which one did I do as well? I think those are pretty much the ones I use at the moment. So, Despair, obviously, yeah. So 3 or 4 Incarnon weapons that I've farmed the resources for, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, other than that, yeah, in the Undercraft, like, these are just your standard missions, shortened, which is very nice. Sometimes lengthened. I mean, excavation with 3 excavators. Yeah, I would love if this would only be 1 if you're solo, just if you're solo, or just like scale it with the amount of players that they're in. But I guess 3 excavators is okay-ish. It just takes a chunk of time, right? And that's my main problem with some game modes in here. Like Void Flood, which is amazing, lovely game mode, but have me seal 5 ruptures is just a little bit too much when playing solo, right? That's the thing is, in a group that is sped up significantly, right? But like just looking at this from going through the farm solo, it's one of these things, right? You do work against yourself if you decide to do those things solo. Which is okay, right? That's absolutely fine. It's not intended and balanced to do everything solo. That's not what I want to say here. Don't balance around solo players. Just like maybe don't design content that is like soul draining if done solo. But yeah, let's skip this excavation. Right, and just to give you a scope, like, this excavation segment took me like over 10 minutes, I think, because you... No, not 10, that's a bit much. Over 5 minutes, because you have to wait for power cells, you have to wait for the excavators, basically to take down. One little tip I have for excavation, pick up a power cell with your Warframe, go into your drifter, pick one up with the drifter, void dash to your next... or void sling, sorry, to the next excavator, put 1 cell in with the operator, switch back to your Warframe, boom, you have 2 cells in, and if there are more cells lying around, do the same thing again, and you have the excavator charged, basically. I almost said the thing again. So yeah, keep that in mind. So yeah, you're up to fight against the Oro Worm. There is nothing I have to say against the Oro Worm. I think this is one of the boss fights that is like really well done. Like, I think it is such an enjoyable boss fight in the mechanics point of view. Like, even if you get absolutely trash weapons, you can still do this fight because I think they do a detection of how much damage you deal, and if you don't deal enough damage in a certain amount of time, you will get sent a Imperator or something. It was like an arc gun to take down the things on the Aura Worm, which is very, very nice. And yeah, obviously with Hildarin, the ads are just no problem at all. Like, we can almost fully armor strip them. We have the exalted weapon of hers to deal with them, and yeah, the rest is just focus on doing the boss fight correctly. And yeah, I mean, this is like the perfect balance of not being that hard, coupled with some mechanics. They are mostly interesting. So yeah, it's like just good as it is, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the Aura Worm fight, honestly. Every time I did go against the Aura Worms, the different ones, it was always a good amount of fun. Sometimes I did die because I've done something stupidly, which is a-okay, but yeah, other than that, like, shoot the weak points, and yeah, I tried it with the Balefire Chargers, and I soon realized, like, as soon as this thing will be moving, that's gonna be really hard to deal with. But for the most part, as I said, really, really enjoyable fight, and the ad phases aren't terrible. Depending on the Warframe you have, these phases go over rather quickly. So yeah, do it in a group though, as always, as I would highly recommend Duviri Stuff in a group, except if you are farming for specific resources. My recommendation is go ahead, go in solo, boot up Duviri Experience, farm the stuff you need, and then do like a side objective, get a decree for that, and then just leave, reset, go in again. That's how I farmed a couple of plants that I needed. And yeah, see, even with the Krakata here, which I actually accidentally did pick it up, but I just saw Hildren and I clicked through all the weapons, basically. So yeah, it's okay. It worked. It's all good. Oh yeah, the Magnus Prime as well, to deal with the ads here. That worked out fairly decently as well. So absolutely no problem there. Yeah, just had to land a couple shots. Did pull out the Krakata as well. And all in all, as I said, perfectly fine doing this solo. It is more of just like the raw time investment per run, that coupled with some of the mission feeling a little bit drawn out and long, that went on to dampen the experience even more. Now, as I said, I don't really enjoy the Duviri experience that much, but that's just me. That's just a me thing. And yeah, this is how I formed up my Culerbos Bane for all the blueprints. And then I did leave and did the Caliban farm in between, as I said. And I just realized something. So yeah, Culerbo is crafting. Now, the thing that I realized is that the melees that I unlocked, there's at least 2 of them, the Azathane, yeah, there we go. And the Siam. Now the thing is, I have to do it again. I have to do it again! Oh no!